the emotion and drama is created from hallucinating when we don't really know what's going on. Can you imagine an agent doing 100 deals from scratch, calling BizBos and expireds? Do you know how much work that is? Everyone currently has a coach. Some of us pay for another person to coach us, and the rest of you, you're coaching yourself. You're the coach. And your money and your production is a direct reflection of who's coaching you.
Welcome to Signature Buzz, your fast-paced weekly real estate sales meeting.
All right, welcome back to the Signature Buzz. I'm your host, Brandon Roberts. I'm here with my good friend, Chris Bishop, General Manager of Signature Real Estate. And today we have a special guest from, not only does he sell real estate, runs a successful team out in Oceanside, California. He also is, I think, a senior coach with Mike Ferry organization, Ron Cronin. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Chris, for having me here. I am a senior coach in more ways than one. I've been there a long time, and I'm turning 60 this year, so I guess that counts two ways, right?
Yeah, but you got gray hair.
Senior coach and then really be
I got lots of gray hair. I qualify.
Yeah, I said great hair, not gray hair.
Great hair. Thank you. I'll take
but both apply, I guess. So
good. Well, yeah, guys, we're super excited over at Mike Ferry. It's our 50th year in the business. And I say ours, it's actually Mike's 50th year. I've been with Mike 22 years, but he, can you guys imagine that? Mike turned 80 a few weeks ago, and he started the company when he was 30 years old in 1975, the Mike Ferry organization. And he's been, coaching the best agents in North America now for literally every single day, guys, for the last 50 years. He's been working on this. And so we're really excited. We have our big event coming up next week in Las Vegas, the Superstar Retreat. You guys are both going, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. And I know that we want to get a lot of your agents involved in coming. It's a fabulous event. How many retreats have the two of you attended?
I think I've been to 12. Maybe, I don't want to say unlucky 13, but I've been to at least 12 of them. I actually had Mike and Tom as my speakers that opened the Nevada Real Estate Convention in 2020 during COVID. It's probably one of the best hour segments I've ever seen. They were amazing together. And I heard that they're going to be together with the entire family at the retreat.
Yeah, everybody's coming for this retreat. Everybody is coming. The first day, the entire Ferry family will be up on stage. All of Mike's sons, both his daughters, the in-laws, the grandkids, everybody will be up there. It's going to be really, really cool for Mike. We're going to see if we can make him cry, which will be the first time in 50 years, but we'll see. And so that'll be exciting. And then Brandon, how many of you attended?
So I've only been to 5 or 6. Yeah, but everyone's been great. And there's no excuse living in Vegas when it's in Vegas. Sure. Come on.
Oh, I know it's down the street, but I lived in Vegas 2 times, about 4 years each time. And I found this phenomenon about for some reason, the Strip is like this barrier that we cannot cross. Like if you're on the east side, you won't go west and vice versa. It's like, can't cross the Strip. But boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what. You guys, when we started this call, Brandon, you said, why do talk about why you go and what you're going to do and so forth. I go because I'm trying to learn to do what they do. People who are producing at the highest levels. I want to know what they do so I can do it too. I want to know what they say to people when they're doing business. I want to know what they're saying so I can speak like them. And then I want to know how they're thinking. And so if I need to do what they do and think how they think, and I'm going to say what they say, what better place to learn all those things when they're all in one room here in my town? You know what I mean? But, anyone who's like worried about, I got to cross the Strip or, the traffic or whatever. It just sounds so silly in comparison to be what's going to be happening in that room at the Venetian for those 4 days. It's going to be off the hook, right?
Yeah. There's people that fly in from all around the country and all you got to do is drive down to the Strip. That's stuff you wanted, right?
People have to do layovers to get here. We have 9 people coming from Moscow. We have another 8 or 9 people coming from Italy. That one gentleman comes from South Africa every year. He wouldn't miss it. So people in Canada, all the Canadians come down. So we all converge for these 4 days. And we're expecting like 4,000 people this year, right?
Oh, wow.
Can you guys picture that? Picture this. Everyone watching this video, picture this. One giant room, beautiful room at the Venetian, 4,000 agents there. You guys have seen this. Everybody's suited up, right? Suited up, complete silence in the room, complete silence, one man talking. And what I love is that the best agents in the world are in the first 10 rows, feverishly taking notes, writing down every word the man says. Because that's how they got where they are and they want to keep it going. So it's just an unbelievable experience. And people in Vegas get used to, well, there's always celebrities here. There's always things going on here, but not this. And I think it's important for your agents to know, guys, that what we do at Mike Ferry's program is not a convention. It's not like other events you go to. They're real estate conventions. There's all these vendors selling things and all this stuff you can buy and all that. And that's not what ours is. Ours is a training seminar where we're discussing how to make money at the highest level. And it's you guys know, it's a high level conversation. And there's not people roaming around and, people are like riveted to the information. So I'm getting all pumped up right now just thinking about it. And I have to work every day at that program and speak every day at the event. So I got to take it easy right now.
Yeah, it's really a cool seminar to go to because it's not just theory. I mean, there's agents all across the country making tons of money and made tons of money for 50 plus years now. Doing what he teaches. So, I mean, you've built a successful team in Oceanside, and what first inspired you to step into coaching alongside Mike Ferry?
Well, that was a long time ago. And I'll to tell you the truth, I was a struggling real estate agent, and I'd been in the business for 5 years in down here in San Diego County at the time, and I was out and about with some friends, and I met this gal. And it turned out to be Michelle Ferry. And she, long story short, we got married and we've been together ever since we met. But she was what introduced me to MFO, obviously. And I'm going to tell you what, when I was in my company for those first 5 years, I would get the postcards to these events. Come to the Superstar Retreat, come to the Action Workshop. It's $395 and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't need a seminar. I don't go to seminars. I don't go to training. I don't want to hear some speaker, trying to sell me something, and I was completely clueless. I was a very small thinking person, and I admit it, I was. And when I was introduced to Mike, when Michelle introduced me to her dad, and I went to the Superstar Retreat, I stood in the back because I wasn't really an attendee. I was a guest, and I was in the back of the room like, oh my God, I had no idea. And at my office in Oceanside, California, guys, there wasn't, I didn't have exposure to people doing 150 deals a year. And the one gal that was doing something substantial in my company, she wasn't sharing anything. And so when I come over here, it's all everybody's making money, except for me at the time. Everybody was making money. Sitting next to a lady selling 60 homes a year. She's 70 years old. This kid's 20 years old. He's listing 5 homes a month. And I'm just like, oh my God, I've finally tapped into this. It was because I was brought there by Michelle. After spending time with Mike, it was in meeting his sons, Matt and Tom and everybody. And after just meeting this group and being a part of it now, I wanted it. I wanted to be a part of that whole thing in the company. So it was funny, and I'll make a long story short, but Michelle comes to me one day, we're dating and we're living together basically. And she comes and she says, my dad was talking about some new position at the company. Now I was selling real estate at the time. He's new position at the company. Maybe you should call him about it. You said you wanted to work there. So I called him up. Hey, Mike, it's Ron, Michelle's boyfriend. Yeah, I heard you have this job. Maybe you'd consider me. He just goes, no. No explanation, no reason, just no. He's like, any other questions? I'm like, no. And I hung up. And I was all bummed out. And 2 months later, same scenario, another position, some other division he wanted to start. And I was like, I'm going to call him and ask him again. So I called Mike Ferry and asked him for the job again. No. Right. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to do this. And I got determined. And I don't know, a week after that, I drive up to the Mike Ferry office, put on a suit, drove up to their office, went to the front desk, filled out an application, and they turned it into the sales manager, and he gave me an interview and wanted to hire me. And then he goes, but I just have to double check with Mike. And I'm, uh-oh. And so he calls Mike. Mike's like, no. And Tim Hansen, he was the manager at the time, he talks him into it. And I finally got the entry-level ticket sales job at the company. And I just, like I said, long story short, worked my way up. There was nothing given, nothing handed, no favors, worked my way up. And, here I am today, coaching, speaking, and representing the company and helping agents make a lot more money. So it was interesting how I got involved. I was forced, and now I'll never leave.
I love that story because I remember my first retreat. It had to be like 2011 or 2012. I can't remember exactly where in there. Maybe it was 2013 for all I can remember. But I had the only introduction to Mike Ferry that I had was on cassette tape. Both my parents have been in real estate for 40 years. My mom's like, oh yeah, you got to listen to these cassette tapes. I mean, I didn't really have anything to listen to them in, and it could have been on 8-track for all I knew. And then there was a CD package that I got, and I was like, I'm not into the scripts. I don't do business that way. And then I went to the retreat, and I had considered myself a relatively successful agent at the time. I was dead wrong. Like, just like you said, I'm sitting next to a lady who's doing, $6 million in revenue, in commission revenue, 180 houses maybe that she had sold. And like you said, she was in her 80s. And I'm lucky maybe 20 homes that I had sold. And I think I know everything. And he walks on stage and I'm like, who's this guy? And he starts talking, and like everything that I always thought that I should have known, he spits out in the course of 30 minutes and my pen runs out of ink. But it's just the way it's always been. Like every retreat I go to, feverishly taking notes. I take those notebooks back and laminate them because it's so good. Do you notice, because I got to ask this because your family, do you notice how he starts off on a number scale, and sometimes the numbers don't always get to the end, but it always makes sense?
Yeah, I do. He said number next.
Yeah.
Whatever you have in your book. Yeah, I know. It's great. Well, super glad that you guys are both going to be there. This year's going to be interesting because we're doing a little bit different. As you guys know, there's 22 specific points to the Mike Ferry system. For instance, time management, prospecting, lead follow-up, customer service, administration, and staffing. We have very specific topics and training on each one. Well, we have seven top producers each day are going to be interviewed on stage for the audience. So I'll be interviewing 7 people, Larry, Tony will, Mike will, and we're really going to see how these agents are applying the system in those very specific ways. One of you mentioned it's not theory. No. We're going to be learning hands-on from these superstars. When I say superstars, people doing 75, 100, 150 plus deals a year. I'm interviewing John Sullivan from Vegas. He lists like 110 homes. I'm interviewing Ethan Penrose from Arizona. This kid is 20 years old. He's 20 and he's listing 5 homes a month, right? And just using the scripts, calling expireds primarily, and just knocking them down. And then when we go, it's a chance for us to eliminate our excuses. Because as you guys know, everyone up there, they're not like special people or they're not royalty. They're regular people who have applied the Mike Ferry system, and they do just extraordinary things with it. But they're just regular people like any of us making all this money. So that's why I go, is for that exposure. I listen from 3 different points of view. I listen as a speaker, I listen as a coach, and I listen as a real estate agent. So I get a lot from these programs.
Let me follow up on that because you brought it up, and I think it's a great segue into a few of these things. So I have never not gotten, or someone in my group has never gone to a retreat and not at least gotten one referral. I had a gal, Annette, that worked with me. She was in the coffee line. Someone turned around and started a conversation. She ended up listing a house from it. I mean, what are your tips for agents that are attending the conference on receiving those referrals, engaging with people? What would you recommend? Because you've been to so many of them.
Well, yeah, if you think about, I think it's a mistake to spend the opportunity just talking about the weather wherever you guys are from. Oh, how's the market in Indiana? And it's not really going to impact and give us value. But instead, here's what I would do. I'm going to just tell you literally, we're all wearing name tags and so forth. And I'll walk up and I'll say, oh, Chris. Hi, Chris. I'm Ron. Where are you from? Let's do it. Where are you from, Chris?
I'm from Las Vegas, born and raised.
Oh, no kidding. You're local. Well, good for you. Hey, listen, can I add you? I need a good Las Vegas agent to be on my referral list. Can I add you? If I have people going to Vegas, I can call you.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Would you consider me as one of your San Diego sources or your San Diego source?
Absolutely.
Great. And then let's exchange cards. And then maybe we should speak like every month or every couple of months, talk about if we have any referrals for each other.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to learn more about San Diego.
Well, I love, talking to you and thanks for hooking up. And then I have your card and we're going to set this thing up. You're going on my Mike Ferry agent list when I get home. And by the way, guys, I call 3 to 5 Mike Ferry agents every day as part of my normal prospecting, just trying to find referrals for the San Diego market that I work.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I love that because I same thing, put them in a referral database. You work them just like anything else and you get business from it if you apply your time to it.
But it starts with you offering to send them referrals. I'll be like, oh, where are you from? Buffalo Breath, Nebraska. Oh, I don't have anyone in Buffalo Breath. Can I put you on my list? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, great. Well, can you consider me for San Diego? Right? Yeah, good.
I've got to ask you one question from perspective, at least why we have the time today. You coach agents, you see top producers, you've been part of the Mike Ferry organization for some time. Agents seem to be challenged every time a market shifts or it cycles or something's different or the weather changes or it's hot outside. What are your suggestions to keep people on track that you tell your coaching clients to stop listening to the noise? What do you suggest to them to keep them where they need to be?
To understand and know the data and the market statistics, because when you're studying the days on market and you're studying the inventory level and how many price reductions and how many expireds, when you keep an eye on those things, the emotion and drama is created from hallucinating when we don't really know what's going on. It's like Chris, like it's amazing with a coaching client. Sometimes they come to their call each week and they're kind of like, I just don't know if I'm doing good, or I feel like I'm behind. I just don't know. And I'll look at our tracking system and their analyzer, and I'm like, well, look, you're on track. And they're like, oh, hey, that's not as bad as I thought. I'm like, yeah, you should probably look at this once in a while. Because when you don't actually know what's going on, we start hallucinating and making stuff up. And it gets all out of control. Just to stay on track, know what your data is, know what your personal numbers are. So getting off track is now difficult because I have a goal, I have a written business plan, and I have a tracking system telling me every day if I'm behind, on track, or ahead of schedule. And how are you going to argue with that? or allow yourself to get off. So I would say that's a big thing. And I also mentioned the word goals. Okay. As a coach, professionally trained by Mike, when clients, agents are struggling with managing their time or with scheduling or time blocking, when they're struggling with managing their time, it generally is caused by a no goal problem. Someone's like, I just can't stick to my schedule. It's so hard. I get bored. I lose track. I'm like, well, tell me about your goals. Well, I want to make a lot of money. That's it. That's what you wrote down, they go hand in hand. Time management problems with lack of goals. When we have very strong goals that we are committed to, that we have to have, that we will die for, schedule is easy because it's just one day closer to getting there.
Yeah, I believe goals are important because you got to know what you want, right? You got to put it out there. But how important do you think standards, like having standards in your business is?
Well, especially, yeah, Brennan, as we start to grow our production, the standards are they're critical. Okay, like a standard for whether I work with buyers or sellers and what percentage my business is, standard for my commission, standard for my price range, standard for the types of people I'll work with. Like I won't work with jerks or mean people. I don't have to. There's plenty of nice people I'd rather work with, so I have certain standards and standard about your commission and what you will and won't do. I think they're super important. Are they super important when we're trying to do our first 6 deals? Probably not as critical, but when you're trying to do 25, 30, 40, 50 deals a year, you have to have them or you're going to be all over the place, wasting time, wasting money, working with people, and then not getting paid from the work. I think that's where it leads to without standards.
Yeah. And so, I know, like I've followed the cold calling, the prospecting, the FSBOs, the expires, the scripts, the dialogues, all that kind of stuff for a lot of years. And as being a broker for a lot of years too, I've seen a lot of people have success with it. But one thing that I find a lot of times is if they only focus on that and they don't focus on building a database in long term, they burn out. How important do you think relationship building and your database are to being successful long term in real estate?
Thank you for that question. If you were to ask anyone next week that's doing anything significant, they're all going to tell you that 65 to 75% of their business is coming from their past clients and their center of influence, friends, family, neighbors, their database, if you will. 65 to 70% is coming from that. So, because this is take an agent doing 100 deals. Can you imagine an agent doing 100 deals from scratch, calling FSBOs and expireds? Do you know how much work that is? Like, it's probably unheard of.
Job.
Yeah, it's probably unheard of that someone could do it. So how important is the relationship that I have with my database and me being their real estate resource to do something significant in the business? You must have it. I don't know that I'm an agent because I moved around so many times and moved to Vegas and moved back and moved to Vegas and moved back. I never really got my database in real estate big or really producing because I would move and then I would just drop the ball. And then we move back and I'm like, I'm back. And they're like, we don't care. We're off on something else now, So I was always only working with the public. Like I had to build my business like 5 times in my career from zero. So I never really got to enjoy that. Now we've been back here in San Diego for next month will be 4 years. We've got past clients. We've got referrals coming in. We've got people, hey, you sold our house. We want to buy another one. I'm like, oh, it's finally starting. So it's a long stretch of 3 or 4 years to get that working for us. But now we're starting to enjoy it and it'll continue. We'll continue to.
Time to move back to Vegas, right?
No.
It's funny you say it that way, Ron, because I've always noticed that the Mike Ferry system, like you could place someone in any marketplace at any time. And as long as they pulled out the scripts and followed them to a T, and as long as they pulled out their prospecting and made their calls or did their door knocking, they would start to get business. I mean, it's almost impossible to make that many phone calls and not find a client. Now, the problem is you don't know what to say, and that's why you have a script, and you don't know what to ask. That's why you pre-qualify them. And so, like for me, like if I got dropped in a marketplace, that's where I'd go and I'd start out. And you've actually done that several times because of it. I want to ask you about the think big part of Mike. Like I have noticed every event I've been to, Mike takes you to that place that you don't think that you'll ever be to. And he's like, why aren't you thinking that way now? From your perspective, how has it changed you and what should we be cognizant of with it?
I mentioned to you earlier, Chris, that I referred to myself as I was a very small thinker. Wasn't raised with money, and my parents didn't really guide me. I got out of high school and, Southern California surfer. How I related to money was very bad. And what money meant and what you do with it, I had no idea, and I probably wasted a lot of it. But when you're with people who are successful, it starts to rub off on you. you gain their knowledge, you understand what they do and how they think. And Mike is a person, he's thinking above most of the audience, like how he sees things. And to work for him directly, I've learned, I can't even share with you all the things that I've learned. There's so much. But here's what I learned to do. And I would ask everyone to do at the retreat. You just open up to some of the thoughts and the concepts that he's presenting. And your ego is going to say, that doesn't work. I've already tried it. He's wrong. He doesn't know me and this kind of stuff. But the truth is just to open up, because like the people in our world who were the pioneers of our world, everybody thought they were crazy.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to sail across the ocean to find another continent? You're crazy. The gentleman who had the concept of the television, his family tried to have him committed because he thought he could have pictures sent over the airwaves. And they're like, you're crazy. So like the bigger thinkers, the CEOs, the trailblazers out there, they're at a higher level of thinking. I just learned to just fall in line, pay attention, and try to absorb it. Try to absorb, because he sees it in a different light. He sees all of us. When I'm looking at my statue, my bobblehead, it sits on my desk every day. But he's looking at the agents and and knows what you're going through and wants you to get to the next level. He knows the process that it takes, and he knows that it may take you a long period of time. He's done this for so many people. It's just amazing. And when you think about where he comes from, I mentioned to you guys earlier, he started the company when he was 30, but before that, he worked for one of the biggest thinkers, the greatest people in our country's history, Earl Nightingale, and Mike worked directly under him for a few years. And, and then the chain of the success of Andrew Carnegie and Earl Nightingale and Mike Ferry, and now you guys are under Mike Ferry, right? I just love that sequence of learning that way.
Yeah.
He's an incredible man. And the only way that you or me or any of us as an individual is going to start thinking bigger is to expose ourselves to that thinking. We can do it through books. You can do it through books. That's what Mike does. He's given himself his own education by reading 4,000 books or something. We can do it through books, but we can also do it by coming to a program and experiencing it live.
Yeah. Speaking of books, he wrote a book called Straight to the Point, and it was for brokerages.
Yeah, man.
I stumbled across that. I have one, but I have never seen it like for sale anywhere. But that book was golden valuable to me starting my brokerages. Make sure you let him know that I appreciate that book a lot. So,
well, and thank you, Brendan. And Mike, Mike's intention is to actually help agents improve. I can't say that about some of our competition and other people out there. I think they have other motives, and it's about their own success and their own money making and so forth. But he has really been there for people. Have you guys watched his early videos and recordings from early? We've been posting some lately, but aren't those just amazing?
Yeah, hairstyles alone are worth watching.
It really, really is. Yeah. Yeah.
They had some great pieces on YouTube of those videos. I think you guys had posted out, and they were really, what was true then is still true now. There's a lot of consistency, even though the world's changed, the market's changed. You just do these activities, nothing much in your business will change. And that's what I keep getting every time I go to his event or see him. He's been to our office several times doing events for us, and he's always the same person. Like, there's no mysticism around it. He is who he is, and that's why you believe what he says. He's right to it. I want to ask you one last question, because I know we're limited on time. One of the most impactful people besides Mike in my business was Tony D'Souza, who was a coach for Mike Ferry, and he was an amazing coach. And I resonate the fact that, he said to me many times that he's always had a coach, and he's always been part of coaching as he grew his brokerage and did his business. What's your take on coaching? Because we have a lot of agents that are going to watch this that are probably on the fence. They don't know what to do. They're scared of what's going to happen. What's your recommendation on the coaching field?
I would say that majority of agents out there, we would probably consider them a buyer's agent. The NAR reports that last year, there's out of 1,000,004 agents in the US, they said 1,000,000 agents did no deals. Agents right now are getting out of the business because of the conditions and they're having a hard time. Are those buyer's agents or listing agents getting out of the business?
Usually buyer's agents.
It's 100% listing agents are not getting out of the business. Why? We're taking listings. Okay. So if you want to thrive and you want to, make it, it's going to be transitioning to the listing side. Most of us need help in becoming a listing agent. I sure did. I needed help. I had no value to bring to the table. I had no presentation. I had no game, no dialogue, no package, no materials. So coaching. I'm going to use this example. Have either one of you gentlemen ever been a part of a gym or had a gym membership or gone to the gym?
Once upon a time.
Yeah, well,
A long time ago, right? Well, do you perform better when you have a trainer waiting for you at the gym?
Yeah,
Do you
because you
perform better with the trainer?
yeah.
Upon time, they get more out of you for sure than you'll do yourself. When I go by myself, I'm like, got my smoothie and I'm walking around like, oh, this is a new machine. Let's try this out. Oh, how about this over here? What's this one do? Oh, this is fun. But when the trainer's there, you can barely, you walk out of there and your arms are shaking because they worked you out. As a coach, we bring out the best in you. We know what you're capable of. We have thousands of examples. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you're from, how big, small, tall, what color your skin is, what your accent is, doesn't matter. We can help you apply this system. Now, other coaching companies, to be honest with you, I don't really know what they do, but I can tell you with us in coaching, we help you implement the Mike Ferry system. We help, and you all come to us from a different background, a different point of view, different levels of skill and abilities. And we, as a coach, we know how to do that. We help you get the system going for you. And basically, I have all these great role models that will be at the retreat. I have all these great people. So I just try to get your business looking just like his and just like hers and hers and hers and his and his and his and all the people making money. We get your business looking the same way. Now, that's what we do in coaching at MFO. But I can tell you that I can tell everybody who's watching this currently has a coach. Brandon, Chris, everyone currently has a coach. Some of us paid for another person to coach us. And the rest of you, you're coaching yourself. You're the coach. And your money and your production is a direct reflection of who's coaching you.
Wow.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Ouch. So yes, you have to pay for it. Yes, it's not cheap. And for the most people joining our coaching, most of us in North America, it's going to take one, maybe two deals to pay for an entire year of coaching, but it's usually just one extra deal will pay for it. And if as a coach, I coach 45 people. If I can't get you a deal, Mike would just fire me. I shouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you for asking about our coaching services. It's what we do best. And it's really where the rubber hits the road and agents take off and do incredible things.
So, final thoughts, if you want to give us any words of wisdom and stuff like that, and then also talk about how they can register for the Superstar Retreat and what that looks like.
Yeah, so just go to any registering for the program. So let me just explain it. It starts Tuesday at 9 a.m. It goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Mike runs 9 to 4. We're usually done a little bit early on Friday so people can go home. We got to get going. Monday is a bonus day. And in fact, I'm not even sure of the cost of the event right now. Or if there's any special pricing, but I believe that they have a sale or a special price going on. So basically you go to MikeFerry.com, MikeFerry.com. First thing on the screen is going to be the retreat, telling you about it, giving you the details, and then allowing you to just go ahead and register right on the website there. You can also call the office at 800-448-0647. and they let the gal know you'd like to get signed up for the retreat, and they'll get you onto the right person. None of your people have to get a hotel, do they?
Hopefully not.
They might want one though.
Now, even when I lived out there, I stayed there just because I didn't want to deal with the strip and the valet and all that. But you don't have to. So it can be fairly inexpensive to go. The fee for the class is nominal compared to what we're going to be providing you and what you'll learn. What was the other part of your question you wanted me to answer?
Just any final thoughts, any words of wisdom you could share?
This was said to me one year. I was like, I told my coach, I said, there's so much going on. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the retreat this year. This was like 18 years ago. He goes, oh, okay. Well, if we're all going to be working on how to build our business, how to improve our family's lifestyle, how to make more money, how to set up a wealthy future, and Ron, if you don't come, like, what are you going to be working on? I'm like, well, I'm going to, really just, do my stuff around here like always. Okay. So, and you guys live out there. You imagine what I've had to go around the last 3 months inviting people to the retreat, and I have to sell Las Vegas in the middle of July. I tell them we wait till it's like 150 degrees and then we have our event. Right. But I would say that there's nothing really that you're going to do that is going to replace what we're going to experience next week. So I'm inviting everyone to take a chance if you're not sure or risk. But as soon as you walk in the room on day one, you're going to understand what I mean. It's going to be overwhelming for a lot of you. It brings people to tears sometimes because they've finally made it to they've been figuring out, how can I do this and what does it take and where do I need to go and which system do I follow? And when you come in here, it's just like, I have found it. I can do it. And as you guys know, what Mike teaches is not like magic. I don't have to be beautiful. I don't have to be tall. I don't have to be thin. I don't have to be any of those things. It's very straightforward. So here's the final thought. At Mike Ferry, we build salespeople. It's not a gimmick. It's not a gizmo to buy. It's not an app. It's not a thing. We train salespeople, and that's what they did for me. I had a fine dining background, restaurant management. I could talk to people and manage people, but I couldn't sell. I didn't know how to sell. They taught me how to be a salesperson. They taught me how to apply this sales training to real estate, and then the sky was the limit from there. Sky's the limit. And people will realize that next week, that they've been in their own way, that they can have it too if they just line up and do what we're doing. You got to do what we do, say what we say to the customers, and then learn to think how we think. And then you're going to start to have what we have. It's very fun, and anyone can do it.
Well, Ron, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And of course, the event is something that is always on my list of can't miss for the year. So with that being said, Brandon, thanks for hosting another great meeting. And do you want to end it or you want me to end it?
Well, what I was going to say is we'll let Ron go and then we'll sit here and talk behind his back a little bit. And that way he has to come back and listen to the show.
I know there's lots to talk about. You should. So listen, I'll see you guys out there. If I don't see you on the bonus day on Monday, then in the afternoon on Monday, then I'll see you on Tuesday when the real event starts. Okay.
Awesome, Ron. We really appreciate it.
Everybody. Hey, and by the way,
Mike,
thanks for the opportunity. I just want to say, if anyone's watching, I do work San Diego real estate, the entire county. We work for Century 21 Masters. I have a small team with my wife and my 2 daughters and another gal, and 5 of us, and we work very hard, and we'll give you guys good service and totally pay the referral fees.
Well, no kidding. I actually have a referral for you, so I'll call you after this gets done.
Look, the Mike Ferry system works. It just worked. All right. Thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So I didn't realize you'd been to 12 or 13 of those suckers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I went to my first one. It had to be like 2011, 2012. So it's been probably 12 of them total. And it's ironic because I've been to multiple events in a year because they do have other things besides the retreat. They have an amazing calling clinic that you can go to here in Las Vegas. And that was overwhelming. Like, I have not been to many things that overwhelmed me. And it was the biggest growth I've ever had as an agent, as far as my business, because you go into a room with 40 other agents from around the country, and you have your book of people that you're calling, your database, whether it's agents or you're calling clients, and you're going through the scripts, and you're just sitting there making appointments. And every time you make an appointment, you're supposed to leave your cubicle, go up, ring the bell, and put a check mark on the wall. And the first time I went, I was doing it to recruit agents, and I hadn't set one appointment in 2 hours. And it was embarrassing because everyone's got check marks. I don't even know if they're lying about it, right? And I hadn't hit the bell once. And Tony, who I had mentioned in the call, my coach, he came over and he says, "Oh, let me hear your next call." And so he put on a headset to listen to me talk. And I know people are having heart palpitations while I'm saying this, right? And so he listened to me the whole thing, and he turned around and he says, "You're not happy to be here." And I said, "You think?" And he goes, "It's resonating, your anger and your upset, and it's resonating through the call. That's why we have a mirror here. Start smiling and be happy making these calls." And I was like, "That's crap." So next call, I'm smiling because he's listening. And I kid you not, I set the appointment. Like it was, and I got that one, the one after. And I mean, like I started ringing that bell like crazy. That's the power of coaching. That's the power of people helping you hone your skill.
Yeah, it's so I've been to 4 or 5 of them, and I did that call day where you were recruiting and stuff, and it was pretty interesting. Talk about stepping outside your comfort zone, right? And I'd say this, everything that we're teaching on our accountability calls and stuff like that. I don't want to say it goes against cold calling and prospecting and stuff, but it's a different view about relationship building. But what I'd say is this: even if you're a master cold caller or you want to get into it, this is the Superstar Retreat's the place you got to be. And even if you're not, the relationship building there, and like he demonstrated, the referral business that can happen. Anytime you have a chance to jump into a pool of realtors from all over, it's probably a good use of time. And you're also going to learn some stuff. You're going to put some stuff together. And I'll tell you, 50 years of Mike Ferry, you don't know how long it's going to last. But I'll bet this one's super special.
Yeah. Brandon, I think about the myriad of different ideologies in real estate. And no matter what way you go or what path you've come from or what coaching group you've been part of, whether it's, Buffini or Ferry or any of them, they all come down to the same core standard. And that's, you got to have conversations with people. I mean, you can't hold standards if you have no one to have standards with, right? And the thing I get from Mike Ferry and all of the coaching programs that we've put together and all the materials we brought is that you either have enough people to talk with in your database and people that you're going to reach out to because you have them, or you got to go find a group of people to engage. And the thing I like about Mike Ferry's whole idea, when you listen to it, he was a door knocker. And I'm thinking like door knocking back in the 60s is a weird thing, right? People invited you in while they're having martinis and cigars. But the whole point was you engaged enough people. And I think that by doing that, no matter where your comfort level is, it's just about having enough conversations. And every coaching client I've ever had, if I dig down deep enough, they're not talking to anybody. And now we're going to change that. And then the business starts to progress. I mean, there's no mysticism behind it. And that's what I get when I go to the events. Like he gives you hundreds of ideas on how to get off your butt and do something productive. And that's what most people suffer from.
Yeah, and I still have every one of the books from every Superstar Retreat, and I still have all my notes and everything. And every once in a while I go through them, especially like when I'm working on developing a training or something else. I always go back to that stuff. There's a lot of great information, and whether you've been before or not, like I said, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of people that swear by his systems, and it really comes down to whatever you do, you got to have a system you follow, right? You got to do something, you got to do it consistently, and that's how you're going to find success. So
I think that his point, Ron's point about mirroring and matching people is important to think of, because all through my life and my career in real estate, I've been lucky enough to be raised in a real estate family with all of these great realtors that I didn't know how successful they were. I didn't know that they did a high level of business. I just thought of them as family friends. And as I progressed in the business, I was able to ask them questions and talk to them and say, how would you do this? And what do you suggest I do? And they all provided advice that I didn't want when I didn't ask for it, right? But when I needed it, they were there. And I think that for everyone listening on the video, there is people who have probably the exact same background, the exact same experience, that are succeeding at a high level that you could engage and say, help me, show me what you're doing. I'm not asking for money or part of the deal. I'll just watch and listen and help. And I did that initially with, my dad as he built his business. I watched and learned and listened, and others and other people. And I got the best gifts from that because I took what they were doing and engaged it in my business in my way, and it took off. And I think that's what I get from the retreats, by listening to those doing it.
That's awesome. So let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. That week is a huge commitment. And it's one every time I struggled with, like Ron said, because I have these things going on and I have appointments in my calendar and I'm going to reschedule these things. There's not a time I went where I didn't get tenfold the value I was given. I got deals from it. Like I sat down one day and a lady next to me just started talking during a break, and I got a referral from it. I used to book lunch reservations at the same restaurant at the same break time, and I would set it for like 5 people, and I'd grab 3 or 4 people as I'm walking out saying, "Want to go to lunch with us?" And I'd build relationships with it, and it was amazing to do that. So the commitment's worth it, the time's worth it, the cost is worth it. It's a few $100 to be able to go and have a wealth of information shared with you. It's like cramming all your sales meetings into 1 week. So definitely go if you can.
Yeah, that's an insider hack I just gave you. I don't know if you picked up on it. Get on your app, book the reservation for lunch. You'll walk right up to the front. You'll be able to go eat, and you'll see all these people waiting in line. I learned it the first time I went with Chris to one of these deals. So there's an insider hack. So I'm sure you got a few more, but
always.
Always, right? All right. Well, thanks for listening to the Signature Buzz. We look forward to the Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat. And remember, we're always affirming your success. Have a great week.